Welcome, everybody. This is Artie Decker, and we're back with another edition of PSN. I'm extremely excited about this week. I've done a lot of research, just giddy as a schoolgirl, so to speak, about trying to break this thing down for you. We're going to find out a lot after this week as far as ones and twos, those teams that maybe need to win some games to get in that 3 and 4 spot. I mean, just so many different scenarios and so many different outcomes. It's just fun to project it because we're to a point we actually can. Um, but let's just jump right in. Let's look at Spanish Fort Saraland. That's a big matchup as far as their region goes because Spanish Fort's trying to stay in the hunt for the region title, and Saraland on the other hand is probably looking more at the 3 spot if they can get that win. Uh, but I would have to go with the Toros. They're really playing well. They kind of got off to a slow start early in the year, but they're really playing well now. So look for them to go ahead and get the win. Looking on down here, we got let's see. Let's look at Gaston City going into Sparkman. Sparkman really good loss, if you will, last week to Hewitt Trust one. And but what it ultimately boils down to is this matchup is I don't know, maybe a little bit of difference between them because the winner of this game will go to that 3rd spot. The loser will go to 4. Basically, these two teams are locked in, but we're just going to play for 3 and 4. But I know a lot of people have picked the Titans, but I like Sparkman to actually win this football game and pull the upset. Looking on down, we got Grissom, Bob Jones. Bob Jones should win this one quite easily and continue their stranglehold on number 2. Here at Trustful going in Huntsville, the Huskies should roll in that one. Uh, James Clement Buckhorn, not really much to play for except pride. But if I had to make a pick, I would probably go with James Clemens on that one. Oak Mountain, Mountain Brook. Mountain Brook's trying to hang on to that 3rd spot in their region, and they should win that game. Spain Park, same way. They're trying to hold on to their 4th spot in that region as they play Tuscaloosa County, and they should get the win in that one. Looking to 6A, you got Abbottville rolling into Fort Payne. This is a big game because, uh, Dale Pruitt and company are against the wall. They have to have this game. If they don't get this game, they're out of the picture, and it's hard to see, uh, looking back at the start of the season. But that's the reality of it. As to where Ellis and company, if they can find a way to win this week, win next week, they could potentially be in the chase for number 2. But realistically, are probably looking like number 3, possibly number 4. Um, but as far as the game goes, I'm gonna have to lean with the Cats by just a fuzz. It's at home. Really impressed by how well they played against Oxford. Whether or not Oxford was looking forward to Pell City this week, who knows? But we'll give them some credit and we'll say they'll get the win. De facto region title game here in probably the toughest region in the state, being 6A Region 8, I believe. That would be Austin going into Muscle Shoals. Both teams undefeated in the region. Both teams really playing well. I think Muscle Shoals has only lost one game. Obviously, Austin is number 1, and I believe Muscle Shoals is number 10. So just a huge matchup. I could see Muscle Shoals winning this game, but Asa Martin and the Black Bears really have just played really well with this number 1 ranking, and I like them just to sneak out of there and win the region title. Looking on, we have Coleman going in the south side. Coleman just trying to hang in there for that number 2 spot, possibly. But like I say, realistically looking at 3 or 4, but they are looking to knock off Southside, and I believe they will probably quite easily. Um, Looking on down, we have This is a tricky matchup. Pennsylvania Valley has been without Bo Nix. They were off last week. It's going to be interesting to see if they do get him back. He hasn't played in 2 or 3 games. Can they get that kind of momentum they had going early in the season? Because they're going to need it. Because Gardendale is a legit threat to knock them off. And but I like Pennsylvania Valley, but I like it closer than you would think. Mine are going to Clay Chalkville. Clay Chalkville still just trying to put a stranglehold on the number 2 spot, and I like them to go ahead and win that game as well. Sydney Lanier, best ranking they've had in years, taking on Park Crossing for that region title, basically. Um, I think Sydney Lanier will probably run out of, the clock will strike 12 for them, and Park Crossing should win this ball game. As we spoke about earlier, you got Pell City going into Oxford. Pell City's looking to just sneak on out of there with a win and potentially win the region with that win. Having lost, I believe they've got one loss and Oxford has none. So if they win the game, obviously they would have a tie break and win the region. But uh, sorry, Pell City Panthers, it's just not going to happen. Oxford's just too good. Pell City doesn't score a lot of points anyway. They play really good defense. This could be a game that you could see a 7-3, 7-6 kind of game and not be a bit surprised. But I do like Oxford to go ahead and win the region this week. Looking on down to 5A, you got Alexandria rolling into Gunnersville. This is a number 2 matchup in that region. Uh, Obviously, Etowah being number 1, uh, can't really be caught without some craziness. So, Valley Cubs going into Gunnersville. Gunnersville really, really is tough at home. And I like them just a little bit better than Alexandria. I've said all year, I kind of felt like Alexandria was a team that was kind of overrated. I mean, I believe they're number 5, but really haven't. Um, I don't know. They've won a lot of games as far as that goes, but as far as just being impressive, nothing really sticks out to me. I know, obviously they lost the game to Etowah that was big in the region, and I look for them to lose this game and fall to 3, and Gunnersville to take that 2 spot. Got Arab and Douglas. Both teams really struggling this year, but look for Arab to go ahead and get another win. I believe that would be 3 for them. Uh, just a win at this point, and Douglas just to keep losing. Looking on, we've got Boaz going to Scottsboro. It's kind of in that same boat. Technically, Scottsboro is still alive, but would need a lot of help and to win out. They should get this win, but don't be surprised if Boaz doesn't sneak in there and maybe take it away from them, having beaten Crossville 2 weeks ago. Looking on, speaking of Crossville, we got Etowah going into Crossville. Crossville's kind of, lost a tough game to Sylvania. Got upset by uh, Boaz, as we was talking about, and then lost. It was not as bad a loss as it seemed. I know you look at the score, Gunnersville kind of dominated 28-0, but it was closer than what the actual score said. So they didn't really play that bad. But they're really, really going to have to play well if they're going to beat Etowah. Etowah is really good defensively, uh, and look for them to bog down that high-powered um, Jones and company, and to get the win, and just continue to put a vice grip on the number 1 spot. And Crossville will gradually fall to the 4th spot with the loss. Looking on, we have St. Paul's and Viger. This is a bigger game than you might imagine. We said a few weeks ago we thought Jackson was probably the big game in that region. Actually, it sets up now that Viger beat Jackson last week 33-0. If they could somehow knock off St. Paul, they would be in control of that region. But look for St. Paul's to probably sneak out of there with a close win. Looking on, we have, let's just jump into 4A. Asheville at Cherokee County. Cherokee County's trying to hang on for dear life for either that third or that fourth spot. Look for them to go ahead and take out Asheville. That loss or that win rather last week, if they would have lost that game, ooh, that would have been bad for the Warriors. But they managed to get out of there with a very disappointing win over White Plains, 13-12. Looking on though, we got Dadeville going into Hanley. Hanley's still looking for that first win. We kind of followed it week by week, but it ain't gonna happen. Dadeville is really good, and they should take them out. Deschler, we were on the Deschler train. They've lost to Rogers, they've lost to Wilson in two tough games the past 2 weeks. Look for them to bounce back and take control of the third spot in that region by beating Danville. Looking on, we have. Let's look at Holt's Bluff going into Anniston. Anniston's a good little team. They played really well last week. I know they lost, but they played them close, and that's a good Sacs team. Look for Holt's Bluff to have trouble, but to squeak out of there with a win and keep their hopes alive for a region title. As to where Anniston will just barely hold on to hopes for the fourth spot. Jacksonville going into White Plain. Look for Jacksonville to roll in that one. Got Madison Academy going into Stevenson's. Believe it or not, the Chiefs are out of it. They cannot make the playoffs, which is just crazy to think about. It just goes to show you how tough a region that truly is. Look for the Mustangs to get another win and to keep their hopes alive for region title. Speaking of a region title match, you got Madison County going into Sardis. I've went back and forth, back and forth, back and forth on this game, but if Tate Rubens and company are healthy and ready to go, look for them to have just enough to get by Gaskins and company, and that would send Sardis to borderline third as to where if they win, they could stay in the hunt for the region title. Same way of Madison County. So this is a huge, huge game. You could go from number 1 to number 3 with the loss. Looking on, we have Aniana going in the Sacs. Look for Sacs to roll in that one. Once again, back to that crazy 4A Region 6, I believe they are. Randolph trying to stay in the hunt for the fourth spot, third spot, thereabouts. DAR kind of in that same boat. DAR has to win. They need to win. If they lose, they're pretty much out of it. But if they win, they're still in the chase. So once again, kind of an elimination game there. But as far as picking a game, DAR coming off the big upset win, look for Randolph to be ready for them and to actually get by them by just a little. Looking on the 3A, you got Colbert County and Lexington. Lexington, kind of an elimination game for them. If Colbert County beats them, they're probably out of the picture. So that's a huge, huge game for them. And look for Colbert County to bounce back and get the win and put them out this week. Big game here as far as that region title goes. Lauderdale County could pretty much put the vice grips on that first spot with a win over Colbert Heights. But Colbert Heights is coming off a win over Colbert County, 35-7, put them in position at number 2 currently. I like this game to be really close once again, but Lauderdale County should win it probably by maybe a touchdown. Looking on, we have Fultondale and Holly Pond. Holly Pond is kind of in that boat of, I think they're in that fourth spot, and Fultondale being in the first spot. Look for Fultondale to get the win in that one. Geraldine, New Hope, just struggling as we've said all season. Look for the Dogs to come back after a really good effort to just go ahead and take out their frustrations on New Hope and get the win and keep their hopes alive for the third spot. Looking on, we have North Sand going into Pisgah. This is a big game for North Sand because they have to win to stay in the hunt for that third spot. If they lose, there's a scenario where they could be out of the playoffs. So once again, you could go from 3 to 5. And you don't want to be in fifth. Pisgah, on the other hand, really, really struggled all year. But if they could find some way to get the win in this game, they could sneak in at number 4. But North Sand's really throwing the ball well, and Pisgah's defense has just been pretty much non-existent all season. Look for the Bison to get the win, but it's going to be closer than you think because the last 2 years Bison have went in there being the favorite and lost to Pisgah. Last year it cost them a region title. The year before that it cost them a, actually I think it might have cost them a region title again the year before. So they're angry and they should be angry because Pisgah has been a stumbling block for them, but it's just not going to happen this year. Looking on, we have Ohatchee going to Piedmont. This is that game. Ohatchee finally gets exposed. I've been talking about it all season long. Piedmont's going to be ready, and this could get ugly as Piedmont will continue to put the vice grips on number one and likely send Ohatchee to number three. Looking on, this is the big game, if you will, for the week. I'm extremely excited for it. You got the Rams going in to Rainsville. I went back and forth on this game. I really one thing that sticks out to me about Sylvania is that second half ability to take over the line of scrimmage and dominate. But to that, I'll say this: Plainview, kind of in that same mode, doesn't really play well in the first half, but they know how to finish. Um, so will that be enough to combat the ability of the Rams? Shavers has got to really get off to a good start if they're going to win this game. If they can kind of bottle him up just enough, I think it would be good for the Bears because the Bears don't get off to a very good start. If they can just hang around, they'll be okay. So something's got to give. Both of these teams really good in the second half, but the Bears are really good at home, and I'm going to have to give it to them by just a little bit. I know you say, well, you pick against Sylvania all the time, but I'm just telling you, just trust me. Bailey Dukes has a big game and leads his Bears to the victory. Uh, Looking on, we got Welborn going into Glencoe. Welborn trying to keep their hopes alive. Glencoe's just trying to find a win. But look for Welborn to win that one. Weaver going into Randolph. Weaver is probably going to lose this game, drop to fourth. Randolph is going to hold on to number two. But Weaver played really well against Piedmont, so don't count them out. But look for Randolph to get out of there with a win. Looking into 2A, you got Asbury going into Ider. Ider's just trying to hold on to that third spot, and they should do it with ease versus the struggling Asbury. Looking on, we have Fife going into Section. Section, as we've talked about the last 2 weeks, kind of come back down to earth. They're really going to come back down to earth this week. Look for Fife to roll in this one and push Section probably to the brink because their playoff hopes are really looking slim at this point. But they would still be in the chase, I do believe, with some help for the fourth spot. Looking on, you got this game in a few weeks ago really didn't look that interesting, but now it does. Ranburne played pretty well against Lynette, so Lafayette better watch out. This is a game that if Lafayette wins it, they could pretty much put a vice grip on the number two spot. Ranburn's just trying to find a way to get in the playoffs. Looking on, you got um, Lynette going into Woodland. Look for Lynette to roll in that one. You got Sandrock going into Collinsville. These two teams don't like each other. Never have, never will. Collinsville just trying to find a way to get a win to stay in the hunt for the fourth spot. Sandrock just trying to put their continuous grip on the number two spot and look for Coach Chestnut and company to get out of there with a win. Looking on, you got Tanner going to Cold Springs. Tanner's just really, really struggling right now. Somewhere in the ballpark of 154 to 13 over the past 3 weeks, being outscored. Their quarterback's out of commission. Their best linebacker, who's the leader of the defense, is out of commission. Don't know if they'll get them back for this game. Cold Springs is awful. Don't get me wrong. So there is hope if you're a Rattler fan. And I like them to somehow, some way put it together and get a win and keep what little bit of hope they've got alive for a playoff spot. Tarrant going into Cleveland. Tarrant is in control of that region, but Cleveland, if they could find some way to knock them off, would be in the chase for the region title. So this is pretty much a de facto region title game for the most part. But look for Tarrant to be too much and get the win. Uh, you got Westbrook going into Gaston. Gaston could play spoiler. I mean, they're not in the chase at all at this point. They're just trying to build for next year. Westbrook, on the other hand, I know I've picked against them a few weeks and I've got burnt. Uh, they just don't really impress me, but they find a way to get a win here and there. And at this point, they're looking like number 4 in that region. So they're looking to hold on for dear life for that 4th spot and take care of business at the Ridge. Looking on, we've got Coosa going into Gillsville. This is an interesting game if you're a Valley Head fan because if Gillsville can somehow, some way knock off the Coosa, you could sneak into that 3rd spot. But most likely that's not going to happen. Coosa's going to win this ball game, put a vice grip on number 3, and you'll be out of luck on that. Looking on, we have Maplesville going into Autaugoville. Maplesville should roll quite easily in that one. Let's see. Notasulga going into Isabella. That'll be a great, great game if you're not familiar with that region. Uh, I hadn't. It's close to a de facto region title game, but I like Notasulga to sneak out of there with a win in that one. Looking on, we got Spring Garden going in Holy Spirit. Look for Spring Garden to get the win in this non-region contest. We've got Valley Head going into Woodville. Quite simply, playoffs are on the line. Woodville wins, they're likely in. Valley Head wins, they're definitely in. Uh, Coach Snap Company, they control their own destiny. If they can go in there and get the win, uh, they don't have to worry about anything. They're in. But look for Woodville to put up a fight, but not be quite enough. And the Tigers win this one and get in the playoffs. Um, Looking on down, we got West End going into Pleasant Valley. Pleasant Valley really playing well, so look for them to roll over West End in this one. We got Central Phoenix still holding strong in the number 1 spot in 7A. Nothing really changed for the most part. Mountain Brook sneaks up there to number 8, though. Bob Jones as well at number 9. Spartan, even though lost the ball game, got a lot of respect from almost beating the number 4 team. Stays at 10. Spain Park lurking at 11. Looking on into 6A, Austin still holding strong at number 1. Oxford at 2. Pinson at 3. Spanish Fort sneaking around there at number 5. Don't forget them. As we talked about, you got number 11 Park Crossing taking on number 7 Sydney Lanier. Something's got to give in that one. Let's see. Nothing really changed any there, except for Shades Valley. They actually cracked with some votes there to about, we're going to call it 16. Looking on into 5A, Briarwood still number 1, St. Paul number 2. Went on at 5, Alexandria actually at 6. I said they were at 5 earlier. Etowah, rock solid at number 7. Looking on, we got, looks like Jackson at 11, Gunnersville at 12. So if Gunnersville wins this game this week, we'll probably crack the top 10. Viger as well, if they could somehow knock off St. Paul. Mortimer Jordan chiming in at about 15. Looking on the 4A, Andalusia's still number 1, Rogers number 2. But Rogers is gaining some steam. They've got 8 first place votes this week. Wilson with that nice little win over Deschler at number 5. They're just a quiet little team, also at 7-0. Oaks Bluff at number 8. You got Sachs finally getting some love at number 10 this week, cracking the top 10. Deschler falling out to number 12. Madison Academy, slow start, but they're climbing back up to 13 all of a sudden. Looking into 3A, you got Piedmont holding strong at number 1, Gordo at 2, Randolph at 3, Mobile Christian still in the chase at number 5, Weaver, a sneaky little team at number 8 there. And of course, you got Sylvania at number 9 and Plainview at 10. Those two flip flopped actually. I would imagine voters didn't like Plainview's win over Brindley as to where Sylvania got a nice little, or well, a better win over Geraldine. So they flip flopped them for whatever reason. Looking on, we've got Lauderdale County chiming in at roughly about 15. Looking 2A, you got Lynette actually gained the first place vote this week. They're back up to 3 votes. Lafayette holding strong at 4. Goshen, their best ranking ever, to my understanding, at 5. St. Luke sneaks back up there at 7 with their big win. Seligen at 8. Leroy takes a little bit of a tumble, though, from losing to St. Luke's at number 9. As we spoke about earlier, Terrence, sneaky little team, keep your eye on them. They're at 10. You got Sandrock chiming in at about 13. Maplesville just number 1 by a mile, by 100 votes. Pickens County at 4. Wadley, again, keep your eye on them. Number 5. As we spoke about earlier, Isabella with that big showdown against Notasoga at number 9. So that's 9 versus 11. So it should be a fantastic game. Or excuse me, number 12. Addison at 11 this week. South Lamar, sneaky little team also at 14. Hackleburg at 15. Looks like Spring Garden chimes in at about 18 this week. Looking back to last week, our team of the week, DAR, come out of nowhere, got a huge, just mind-blowing win over Sardis, 31-21. So they are our team of the week. As we've talked about just so many storylines to follow for this week. Uh, we'll know a little bit more next week as these games conclude, and we'll probably do some more projections next week. But everybody be safe. Have a great weekend, and save me a spot on the fence. And good Lord willing, we'll be back with you next week. Goodbye.